Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will attempt for the first time to use hair dry clay and I will do some breakfast bakery miniature. So without further ado, let's get started! First thing, I will use the air dry clay that I bought in a recent haul from Das brand. After taking out the little piece that I will use, I seal it very well so it won't dry it out. Then I started to work the clay with my hands just to warm it up a little bit. Then I roll out the clay, and to do that I use a spray actually because I didn't have the roller pin for clay. Then I roll the clay on itself, and here I have my base for my croissant, the first miniature that I'm going to do. I take another piece of clay and I roll it out. Then with this nail art tool I start to cut it out the edges to obtain a triangle. I take off the excess of clay that I will rework later and use it up. Now I roll out another piece of clay, and with the same nail tool I will do another triangle, this time a little bit bigger. And I started to roll the triangle around the shape that I made before the bigger one, and then the smaller one on top of that. I start to adjust a little bit the clay and work it with my hands. And here the final result. Here we have my first croissant. As a second pastry I decided to make a cinnamon roll. And do that was quite simple because I roll a little bit of clay and I roll it on itself. And here also the final result of it. Now for the third shape I decided to do a pain au chocolat. Before I roll it out the clay, then I roll the clay on itself, and then I cut another piece of clay, I roll it out and I wrap around the first one. And with my tool I start to work on it a little bit just to sculpt it and obtain this shape that reminds a lot a pain au chocolat, or at least in my imagination. As a fourth shape, I actually decided to keep it simple and do a donut. To do that, I roll a ball of clay in my hands, then I squish it a little bit. Then with the tool, I just shape it out a little bit. I create the center hole with the tools and the help of a toothpick. And then I create the icing, just rolling out another piece of clay, putting it on the top of the donut shape and squish it a little bit. Another thing that I decided to do was a piece of cake. And to do that, I just roll out a piece of clay, but this time a very thick piece of clay. Then I cut a triangle. Then I make some stripes that I put on top of my cake, and here the final result. Final shape that I'm going to do is a macaroon, and to do that I just give a ball shape to 2 pieces of clay with my hands and I squish them a little bit on the desk. Then I put clay that I previously rolled out on my desk in the middle of these 2 pieces of clay that I already created, and with a toothpick I create some texture near the center. And this is the final result. I'm really satisfied with it, I have to say. And now that I have obtained all my clay sculpture, miniature sculpture, I have just to leave them for 24 hours to dry out completely. As you can see here, I also did another shape. This was an attempt to do a cup of coffee, and I did it just to don't waste the clay that was left on my desk, but actually it was starting to dry out, so it wasn't easy to model this clay, and it has a lot of cracks and I wasn't satisfied with the shape at all, so I didn't show you the process. It was just a epic fail try. So the day after I started out by sanding actually each piece that I made, and to do that I didn't have the sanding paper and I used a nail file, and actually it works quite well. When I obtain a very smooth finish, I started my favorite part of this process. I started to paint. This was the most time-consuming part of the job, but actually I really enjoyed it. It was very relaxing. I started out with a cup of coffee just to try out the color on the clay for the first time and see how they work, and then I proceed to paint all my pastries. I started by putting on them a base layer of color, and then I go back to each piece and putting more details on them. And also mix it up a little bit, the colors, blend them together, just to give a more realistic look to my miniature. I chose all the color very randomly. I didn't have any plan in my mind. It was the first time ever using this medium, so I just decided to go with the extent without even looking tutorial or any kind of help, and just do whatever I want to do. Actually, it was just a way to testing out all the material that, as I said, were completely new to me. And now for the final part, the varnish part, I use this dust varnish. And also in this case was the first time ever using this product. On the label I read that it said that they will dry out completely in 2 hours, so after 2 hours I went back and paint also the bottom part of my miniatures. But I have to say that they weren't completely dried out actually after 2 hours, so it was a little bit of a mess, and I have also to retouch them the day after. And I don't know if it was my fault that I used too much varnish or if it takes just longer to dry it out completely. If you ever used this product before, please let me know in a comment below your experience about that. And then I leave to completely dry out my miniatures for like 24 hours. And that's it, guys. This was the final result the day after that the varnish completely dried out. I really enjoy working with clay, and I think that I will do it very often also in future. So let me know in a comment below if you have any suggestions, any tips that I can use while working with clay. I have to say that I didn't like very much the dust varnish, so I will look for another product for sure in future. Let me know in a comment below if you have any suggestion also about that. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to don't miss any other content. See you next time. Moi moi!